Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kama Paranaya Community Studio. Welcome to our daily lectures, where we normally talk about different topics. In this case, it is my turn to talk about English and related to business. Um, Lately, we have been talking about how to give presentations, how to discuss, how to give fundamental arguments during your presentations. But now it's important, just like speaking is important, it is also important to write. Okay, so one important thing that I think we should learn how to do is how to write paragraphs. Sometimes we don't take time to organize our ideas properly, or sometimes we just write one big paragraph with all our ideas combined in one big paragraph with many lines, and this has many disadvantages. I don't think there's any advantage in writing one big paragraph. First of all, because if you put all your ideas into one big paragraph, then um, instead of being understood, uh, everything will be confusing. Um, that's one thing. Second, it's tedious and boring when you see this one big chunk of words. Um, and finally, well, it's just I want to say if it's impolite, but it doesn't. But it sends the message to the reader that you did not have you did not have enough time, or that you did not want to put in a little bit of effort to organize your ideas and send them a message. It seems like, okay, I just wrote and just sent it out. So it's important to have the knowledge to it's important to apply these things when you write. Okay, it's relevant. Especially when you're in this level of managing and making international business. So let's begin. First of all, I want to again welcome you to our daily lectures. You know that every day CAMEX organizes lectures in different topics. Um, and this is our English lecture, right? But before all, I hope everyone is fine, everyone is safe, everyone is healthy. Please, I know that every day we are getting more and more liberties, trying to put things back into normal. If you go to the malls, now that children can enter, you see more people. Since it's the holidays and Christmas is around the corner, you see people going shopping, doing their Christmas shopping. I know some of these things are inevitable, and everybody wants to go back to normal. But let's just be careful, okay? If you go out, take the necessary precautions, wear your masks, wash your hands. Um, when you come back, put your clothes in the washing machine, take a shower, and clean your shoes, okay? As basic procedures, okay? And if you don't need to go out, well, then just don't go out. Let's do it for our loved ones. Let's do it for the people that we have at home and for our families. Okay, so very well. Being that said, if you don't know me, well, this is the topic that we're going to talk about today, writing paragraphs. If you don't know me, my name is Carlos Martinez. I am an English instructor and speaking coach. I am a former team leader at Pacific University, so a few months back. And currently, I am an EFL teacher at Mater Purísima School in Miraflores. Welcome to our lectures, and let's begin. First of all, we need to define what is a paragraph and what is topic sentence, because one depends on the other. First of all, a paragraph. A paragraph is a series of sentences that are organized and coherent and are all related to a single topic. Okay, so this is key. Uh, Everything that is in one paragraph is related to one topic. Okay, if you're going to change topics, then you need to open a new paragraph. Almost every single piece of writing you do that is longer than a few sentences should be organized into paragraphs. Okay, so again, if you're going to write more than one or two sentences, then it should be organized as a paragraph. This is because paragraphs show a reader where the subdivisions are of an essay. Well, in this case, essay or any type of writing, an email, a report, a proposal, review, and thus help the reader see the organization of the essay and grasp its main points. Okay, like I was saying, this is you're doing this as a courtesy for the reader. Okay, because if you don't separate your ideas, it's kind of difficult to understand where something begins, where something ends, if you're talking about the same thing or different things. Okay, so if you organize by paragraphs, then I know how everything is divided. Okay, and now every paragraph has its main idea, which is called the topic sentence. Okay, now there is a bigger one that's called the thesis statement, which normally is in the first paragraph, and it's the main idea of everything. Okay, but each paragraph has its own topic sentence. Okay, and as you can read here, a well-organized paragraph supports or develops a single controlling idea. Like we said, it talks about only one thing, which is expressed in a sentence called the topic sentence. Okay, like I said, every paragraph must have its topic sentence, um, which is the main idea of the paragraph. Okay, this is what I'm going to talk about in this paragraph. There is one thing called the topic sentence, and there's another thing called the thesis statement. Normally, like I said before, the thesis statement is the topic sentence of the first paragraph, but it includes not only the paragraphs, but includes the whole writing. Okay, but after that, every paragraph must have its topic sentence. A topic sentence has several important functions. The first one, it substantiates and supports an essay's thesis statement. Like I said before, thesis statement is the main idea of all the paragraph, and the topic sentence is the main idea of each paragraph. I'm sorry, excuse me. The thesis statement is the main idea of all the writing, okay, of all your essay, of all your report, of everything, okay? And the topic sentence is the main idea of each paragraph. So each paragraph is going to support the thesis statement. It's going to give arguments for the thesis statement. It's going to explain, or it's going to develop the idea of the thesis statement. Next, it unifies the content of a paragraph and directs the order of the sentences, and it advises the reader of the subject to be discussed and how the paragraph will discuss it. So if I read, like I said, if I read your topic sentence, I know what everything else is going to be about. I know that this paragraph is going to talk about, for example, advantages, or I know that this paragraph is going to talk about disadvantages, or maybe I know that this paragraph is going to give me suggestions or directions or whatever. So depending on what the topic sentence is of your paragraph, I know what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. Readers generally look at the first sentence in a paragraph to determine the subject and perspective of the paragraph. That's why it's often best to put the topic sentence at the very beginning of the paragraph. Like I was saying, I apologize. Um, there's a business next door. I think I've been boycotted by neighbors. If it's not one neighbor tearing down his house, it's my other neighbor who doesn't turn off his alarm. Okay, so going back to this, the topic sentence is normally the main idea of the paragraph. So if I am the reader, I read the first sentence, and because I want to know what this paragraph is going to be about. This could be done for many reasons. For example, because I am just interested in what it is about. Second, because maybe I am investigating about maybe, for example, right now I am doing my thesis, a master's degree, and I have to prepare my thesis. So normally when I read an abstract, or when I read a report or something, I uh, I don't have enough time to read the whole document. So I read the topic sentence, and I see if this paragraph is going to be helpful for my investigation. Okay, and if it's not, then I continue to the next paragraph and so on. So it gives me a perspective of what's going to happen. So that's why it is often best to collocate the topic sentence at the beginning of the paragraph. Although it is not always necessarily the case. Sometimes it is located in the middle, and very in less occasions, it's collocated at the end, okay? But normally you should always collocate it at the beginning, because like I said, for example, for me, it's very helpful when I read an investigation, because it tells me if this paragraph is relatable or important or not, okay? So like I said, to close this part of the presentation, remember that in a paragraph, in any writing, there are two important statements. There's the thesis statement, which is the main idea of all the writing, whatever the writing is, essay, report, proposal, review, whatever. And then there's the topic sentence. The topic sentence is the main idea, but of each individual paragraph, okay? So let's continue. Now, paragraphs can contain many different kinds of information, okay? Like I mentioned before. First of all, it could be a series of brief examples or a single long illustration of a general point. So sometimes I use my paragraphs to give examples of what I'm talking about, to give fundament or argument, okay? For example, if I'm going to talk about advantages, then I'm going to write maybe a paragraph giving reasons why something is an advantage, or the opposite, okay? Or why it's a disadvantage. I can use a paragraph to describe a place, character, or process, okay? So if I want to describe, let's say I want to describe a city, then I want to describe 3 cities, let's say Lima, Bogota, and Rio, then I will use one paragraph for Lima, one paragraph for Bogota, and one paragraph for Rio, okay? And I will describe it. And the same will happen if I want to describe a character, or if I want to describe a process. For example, if I am in the supply chain, then I will maybe develop want to write the processes, the beginning, the middle, and the end. Okay, so maybe my first paragraph is only going to be about the initial states of the chain, of the supply chain. So it could also be used to describe processes, characters, or places. To narrate a series of events, I can also use paragraphs. Like I said, my first paragraph is going to be how something began first. Secondly, finally, okay. In each one will have its own paragraph normally. To describe causes and effect, okay. I will separate my causes into one paragraph and the effects into another paragraph. To compare or contrast two things. Again, I want the similarities in one paragraph, the differences in another paragraph. And finally, to clarify items into categories, okay? So each category, of course, will have its own paragraph. These are some of the types of information that a paragraph can contain, and some of the main reasons why we separate the paragraphs, okay? Because we want to make it clear for the person who is reading whatever we are writing. Regardless of the kind of information they contain, all paragraphs share certain characteristics. One of the most important is the topic sentence. Like I said again, whether it's where I'm classifying items, whether I'm describing cause and effect, whether I'm giving examples, I always need a topic sentence, okay? Because how do I know if I'm describing cause and effect? And maybe my topic sentence will mention something about cause and effect. Or how do I know if I'm classifying? My topic sentence will probably have something related to classifying, okay? So again, regardless of what the type of information that is contained in the paragraph, it is important to have a clear and precise thesis statement. Okay, it is very important. Let's continue. Okay, although most paragraphs should have a topic sentence, there are a few situations when a paragraph might not need a topic sentence, okay? Now, these are few situations, and I'm going to tell you when. Okay, sometimes when I'm narrating a series of events, for example, if I'm going to say first, second, and finally, sometimes the topic sentence will be in the first paragraph because the others will be related to this topic sentence. It's just as the chronology of it. Okay, so here it could be an exception, but again, few situations. Okay, there's none as I would rather you include topic sentences, but it could be acceptable if it's not included. If a paragraph continues developing an idea that you introduced with the topic sentence in the previous paragraph, this is the same as the first one, you know, like I was saying. And normally when you narrate the way events progress, the main idea is in the first paragraph. Everything else is just developing the main idea. So it could be accepted if you don't mention a topic sentence because it will be repetitive. And finally, if all the sentences and details in the paragraph clearly refer, perhaps indirectly, to a main point. The same. As you can see, the three are basically the same when you have already mentioned the topic sentence, and the other paragraphs are just a development of your topic sentence, okay? And normally these refer, this could be sometimes in processes, right? Because if I'm going to tell you the process of how I manufacture something, maybe my paragraphs will be separated in the different stages of this process, but it's still talking about the same process. So maybe a topic statement, a topic sentence might be redundant, okay? But again, it's not incorrect if you collocate it, okay? But why am I mentioning it? Because it's always good to know the options that you have. And again, just to clarify, the vast majority of paragraphs, however, should have a topic sentence, okay? I am giving you I'm telling you this information because maybe one day you read a paragraph and you see that there's no topic sentence, and you think, well, why did Mr. Martinez at the CAMEX lecture told me or told everyone that we should write topic sentences and there's no topic sentence here? And if that happens, then you will see that maybe it fits into one of these categories, okay? Because there are options and it's acceptable. Although the vast majority of paragraphs should have a topic sentence, okay? So if you this is a win-win situation. If you write a topic sentence, you won't lose. But if you don't write a topic sentence, then if you're going to do that, then you need to make sure that whatever you're writing fits into one of these categories, okay? So play it safe and just write the topic sentence for every paragraph. Now, every paragraph, now that we know what a topic sentence is, every paragraph has a structure. Okay, just like, for example, when you write a letter has a structure, right? Your introduction, your body, and your conclusion. The same happens with every paragraph. Um, Paragraphs should use the TEAL structure. What is the TEAL structure? As you can see, it is an acronym of the first letters of each of these parts. The first one is the topic sentence, which is the main idea or the theme of the paragraph. Next is the explanation of more or a development of the main sentence. Then you're going to give your evidence or your examples, why you say what you're saying. And finally, a link, which is how this paragraph is going to connect with the following paragraphs. Okay, for example, in English, when we teach for FCEs or CAEs or CPEs, we always tell there's a part of the reading use of English exam where you have to, they give you an article with missing paragraphs or with missing sentences, which are parts of the paragraphs. And I always tell my students that they need to find the link, okay? Because you need to see if this sentence connects with what comes before it or after it, okay? And because links are important, every paragraph should have a link which connects it to the following, to the following paragraph, okay? So like I said, TEAL means topic, sentence, explanation, evidence, and link. There's also, some people will include comments after the example or evidence and before the links. But I don't collocate it here. I'm going to explain it still, but I don't collocate it here because I think that comment fits in like an example or evidence, okay? So to collocate the letter C would be I think redundant, because I think the comment part could be included in the evidence or example area. But still, I'm going to explain it, okay? So remember, every paragraph should have these 4 parts. The topic sentence, the explanation of the topic sentence, the evidence and examples of the topic sentence, and the link, how you connect it with the rest or the following with the rest of the writing or the following paragraph. So here's what I was saying before, right? The TEAL structure provides an effective way of organizing a paragraph. TEAL stands for topic, sentence, explanation, evidence, and link. You might find it helpful to add the C for comments before link, okay? Again, I'm going to explain it, but I think that the comment can be included in what's explanation and evidence. That's why I don't collocate the letter. I keep it with TEAL. A paragraph structured this way should contain the following. Like I said before, the topic sentence is the first sentence in a body of a paragraph and tells the reader what the main idea or claim of the paragraph will be. Okay, so the topic sentence is the main idea of whatever I'm going to say in that paragraph. Explanation is I'm going to explain what I mean with more detail. Okay, I'm going to show an example in a little bit. You explain in more detail your topic. Your evidence, and the evidence, of course, is you provide evidence of what you're saying. You need to provide. I can't just write and say. I can't just write and say, oh, I'm writing this because I want to write it like this, or I'm saying this, and this reminds me of my master's degree course. Whatever I write, I need to put evidence. Okay, I consider myself to be smart, and I consider myself to investigate, but I am not. I am not as maybe once I finish my master's thesis, it could be used as a source or evidence. But for now, I need to support my ideas, or I need to support my claims with somebody who has done an investigation priorly. Okay, so here I collocate my evidence. I collocate, okay, I say this because this investigator or this researcher agrees with me. Okay, to do this, refer to your research. This may include case studies, statistics, documentary evidence, academic books, or journals. Remember that all evidence will require the appropriate citation. Okay, and this goes with the APA things that everybody should know. It's kind of boring, but still, everybody should know them. And then comes the comment part. Like I said, the comment, I will include it inside the evidence and example, but I'm going to mention it here. Consider the strengths and limitations of your evidence and examples that you have presented. Explain how your evidence supports your claim. So you see, with the comment, I'm telling you why all this evidence is relevant to my citation. But I think it is obvious, right? If I'm collocating it there, it's because I think it's relevant. If I need to comment, or if I need to explain why it is relevant, then it's just a plus. Okay, it doesn't diminish your evidence and your examples. Okay, but sometimes it will make sometimes it is necessary to make things clear, sometimes it's not. It totally depends on you. And finally, the link. Summarize the main idea of the paragraph and make clear how this paragraph supports your overall argument. How is this paragraph connected to everything and to the following paragraph? Okay, so this is the link, the connector. Okay, so these are the different parts of a paragraph. Okay, in every paragraph, whether it's a 5-sentence long or 10-sentence long paragraph, it should have it. Okay, we can't think, oh, my paragraph has only 4 or 5 lines, so I don't need all this. No, you need all this. Okay, um, it doesn't matter the length of the paragraph. Okay, if it's a paragraph, it should have all these parts. For example, here's an example of a paragraph. Okay, and as you can see, it is color coded for those of you who love colors. One of the main obstacles to reaching international consensus on climate change action is the ongoing debate over which countries should shoulder the burden. Okay, so this is my topic sentence. So once I read this, I know that I'm going to give more explanation on this topic. Okay, one of the main obstacles to reaching international consensus on climate change action is the ongoing debate over which countries should shoulder the burden. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, which countries should shoulder the burden. Now, the explanation. Because the developed world has historically been responsible for the majority of greenhouse gas emissions, it has been argued that they should reduce emissions and allow developed nations to prioritize development over environmental concerns. Okay, so this is why I think it is important that we should discuss which countries should shoulder the burden, who should share the responsibility of taking action in climate change. Okay, so this is my my explanation. I am giving you the topic why I am developing this topic. Okay, and this is, like I said, the second E. Now we have evidence and examples. Okay, in my evidence and example, the notion of common but differentiated responsibility was formalized in the UN framework. So now I am citing my evidence. Here is where I am getting, okay, whatever I'm saying is supported or is it's backed by this, okay, by the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change in Rio. Article 3.1 says accordingly to the developed country, parties should take, okay, so this is my backup. This is what this evidence, it's supporting my original topic sentence, okay? And then I comment, okay? However, because CBDR outlines blah, 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 okay, this has caused to be, so this is just my comment. This is like my, the reason why I am writing what I'm writing, okay? I'm just commenting on I'm connecting my evidence with my topic sentence and my explanation, okay? I'm telling you why this is important. Maybe it's my opinion, but I am giving you, I am talking about I am commenting on my evidence and my examples, okay? And finally, the link, fairness and equity need to be pursued in reaching a global agreement on climate change, but transforming this into an actionable strategy is problematic, okay? So this is how I'm connecting my paragraph to an overall investigation about climate change, okay? Notice, well, in this case, his paragraph has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 lines, okay? As you can see, that topic sentence is only one line, or one and a half. My explanation, again, a couple of lines. I think the biggest, well, as you can see, the biggest part will be the comment. And like I said, the comment, you can write it or not, it depends on you. So if we eliminate the comment area, I mean, we'll go down to 7 lines, 8 lines. So notice how the paragraph is not that big, but we included the teal organization, okay? So this is how a paragraph should look like, okay? Again, your topic sentence, which tells everyone what you're going to talk about. Your explanation of the topic sentence is like a small development of the topic sentence. Then why you are citing your topic sentence, why you think this is true. Okay, you have to look for things to back you up. Again, we might be very intelligent and very and consider ourselves to be important, but we need a prior investigation that will be like the backbone or the for my argument, okay, to make us to be able to make my argument stronger. Then the comment area where I comment on how I connect my evidence with what I'm saying, and finally the link, which will connect the whole paragraph to the whole writing and of course to the following paragraph. Okay, so this is just an example of how we can apply the teal division into our paragraphs. Now, coherence. Coherence is important. This is something that I mentioned before about what a paragraph should have. Okay, every paragraph should be coherent. In a coherent paragraph, each sentence relates clearly to the topic sentence or the controlling idea. But there is more to coherence than this, because, like, by definition, coherence means that it makes sense. Okay, that it relates. But if a paragraph is coherent, each sentence flows smoothly into the next without obvious shifts or jumps. I mean, again, if your paragraph is coherent, then everything just flows. There's no, I know, for example, if you're going to talk about advantages and about a certain topic, I know that everything's going to be advantages, and I'm not going to be anything that's going to interrupt my flow or my acceptance of the information. A coherent paragraph also highlights the ties between old information and new information to make the structure of ideas and arguments clearer to the reader. Okay, so I connect what was said to what will be said. Okay, that is also coherent. Okay, it's always relevant to whenever you are writing and you feel that it's necessary to bring back some information from prior information, mention it. That way you can connect. Again, you're making the connection between what was said before and what you're saying now. And if maybe you are going to connect this to some new information, then you can mention it too. Okay, like sometimes when I'm talking, I say, I will mention this later. Okay, so I'm preparing the reader, or in your case, the listener, to what's coming. Along with the smooth flow of sentences, a paragraph's coherence may also be related to its length. If you have written a very long paragraph, one that fills a double space type page, for example, you should check it carefully to see if it should start a new paragraph where the original paragraph wanders from its controlling area. So like I mentioned before, if you have a big paragraph, if it's too big, maybe you can separate it in two. Maybe you can figure out where you can separate, where you can split it in two to make it more understandable and more organized. On the other hand, if a paragraph is very short, only one or two sentences perhaps, you may need to develop its controlling idea more thoroughly and combine it with another paragraph. If you have a paragraph that's 2 or 3 lines, you should think about maybe expanding your ideas, or how can I combine this small paragraph with another one, okay? So you can, if it's too long, you should try to see if there's a way of separating it into two. And if it's too short, you should try to think of two options, making it longer or combining it with another one, okay? And these are two things that you need to decide when you're writing, this is decided when you're making your plan. Okay, techniques that you can use to establish coherence. First of all, repeat keywords or phrases. Okay, this is common knowledge, but still, particularly in paragraphs in which you define or identify an important idea or theory, be consistent on how you refer to it. This consistency and repetition will bind the paragraphs together and help your reader understand your definition or description. Like I mentioned before, right? Sometimes it's important to talk about something that you already mentioned. Okay, so if you mention it many times, it will stick and it will be more understandable. Next, create parallel structures. Again, related to what I just mentioned. Parallel structures are created by constructing two or more phrases or sentences that have the same grammatical structure and use the same parts of speech. By creating parallel structures, you can make your sentences clearer and easier to read. In addition, repeating a pattern in a series of consecutive sentences helps your reader see the connection between the ideas. The parallel structures, which has been emphasized, help the reader see the paragraph is organized as a set of examples of general statements. Okay, so what does this mean? It's that when I say parallel structures, I'm saying that you are constructing two more phrases that have the same grammatical structure. You are, for example, if you're using only the past, then try to stay in that and try to organize your ideas. This talks about don't go from past to future to present continuous to present perfect. I mean, try to stick. I mean, maybe one paragraph should only talk about, you should only use present simple, okay, or present perfect. It depends on what you're saying, but try to stick to that, okay? If you combine too many things, then you're going to confuse. Be consistent in point of view, verb tense, and number. Again, similar to what we've said before, okay? Consistency in point of view, verb tense, and number is a subtle but important aspect of coherence. If you shift from the more personal you to the impersonal one, from past to present, then, or from man to day, so just be careful with the vocabulary and the grammar, like I said before, right? It makes it more understandable. It makes it more coherent if you stick, if you're not all like they say in English, if you are going to be all over the place, then you're going to confuse whoever is reading, okay? Next, use transition words or phrases between sentences and between paragraphs. Transitional expressions emphasize the relationship between ideas. We've been mentioning this for like the last couple of classes, you know, how important linking words and phrases are to any writing, okay? As well to any speaking, but also especially in a writing, okay? So, for example, we have some, I'm going to mention some, even though I have already mentioned these quite often, but I'm going back to what I mentioned before, repetition, repetition, repetition. To show addition, we can use again, and also, besides, equally important, first, second, etc. Further, furthermore, in addition, in the first place, moreover, next, and to. To give examples, we can use, for example, for instance, in fact, specifically, that is, to illustrate. Yeah, in previous classes, but like I said, like I also mentioned, it's important to repeat many times, okay? It makes things stick. To compare, also in the same manner, likewise, similarly. To contrast, we have although and yet at the same time, but despite, even though, separated. Remember, many people don't know why they write it together. However, in contrast, in spite of, and nevertheless, On the contrary, on the other hand, still, though, yet. To summarize or conclude, all in all, in conclusion, in other words, in short, in summary, on the whole, that is, therefore, to sum up, and to show time, after, afterward, as long as soon as, at last, before, during, earlier, finally, formally, immediately, later, meanwhile, next, since, shortly, subsequently, then, thereafter, until, when, in a while. Each of these, you know, some of them go at the beginning, some of them go in the middle, some of them go at the end. We've been talking about these for like 2 or 3 lectures. Again, I've been telling you where you collocate them, when you should use them. This is like just a reminder of things that we said before. And coincidentally, it goes into this part where I just mentioned repetition. Okay, it's always good to bring back something from that was mentioned before, because I'm pretty sure some of you are saying, oh, so this is how I can use this in the writing too. Okay, we've been talking about how to use them in speaking, but definitely more importantly in writing. Very good. So these are linkers, and they're very important when you speak and when you write. Okay. To show place and direction: above, below, beyond, close, elsewhere, farther on, here, nearby, opposite, to the left, to the north, etc. And to indicate logical relationship. Accordingly, as a result, because, consequently, for this reason, hence, if, otherwise, since, so, then, therefore, and thus. Okay, so these are just some linkers that will be important for you to use whenever you write. Okay, they make your writing more professional, they make it more formal, they definitely make it more understandable. Okay, it's impossible for you to use a linker and people not understand, because, like, as you can see, each of these linkers have a specific purpose: for cause and effect, for contrasting, for time, to indicate relationship, to talk about place. Okay, so they make it clear. I mean, they definitely make it clear. And the level, I mean, if you're in a basic level, normally you use and, but, and so. But as we increase our level of our knowledge and our control of the language, then we can start using examples like however, therefore, consequently, farther on, near, elsewhere. Okay, so we need to try to, if we're going to stay to the and, the but, and the so, even though it's correct, even though it's proper, the listener will say, okay, why is he only using and, but, and so? Doesn't he know any other linkers? Okay, so this doesn't give a good image. Okay, so always try to, that's why all these templates that I give you, try to use them as frequently as possible, because it only makes you look better. You're speaking and you're writing. And to finish, I'm going to give you 5 steps for structuring and writing a better paragraphs. First, make the first sentence of your topic sentence. Like I said, the topic sentence should always be the first sentence, because this is what I read. I gave you the example of whenever right now that I am in my master's degree course, and I need to investigate and look for many sources. I don't have enough time to read all the paragraphs. So when I'm looking for an article to back up my answers, so I read the first sentence, which should be the topic sentence, and then it's going to tell me if this sentence is important for me to read or if it's valuable for my investigation. If it's not, then I go to the next paragraph, and so on. Okay, because I rely on the fact that the topic sentence is the main idea of all the paragraph. Okay. So like I said, make the first sentence your topic sentence. Next, provide support via middle sentences. Like again, remember the till, right? Topic sentences, to give evidence, to links. Always you need to give the first sentence is going to be your topic sentence, but everything else needs to support your ideas. Whether it is to give more explanation of your topic sentence or to give evidence, but this should be in the middle sentences, okay? Okay, now you told me that you're going to talk about the advantages, so okay, let me tell me what advantages you're going to talk about, okay? And finally, make your last sentence a conclusion or transition. Conclusion if it's the last paragraph, transition if you are in the middle, like I said, the link. Normally, we can link with the whole writing, or we can link with the following paragraph. So we decide if it's the last paragraph, then it will be your conclusion. If it's in paragraph in the middle, then it will be your transition paragraph, okay? So this should always be the last sentence of your paragraph. Okay, hopefully it's clear until now. Hopefully there are no questions. Remember that I can read your comments via Zoom and also via Facebook. Okay, so if you have any comments, you have any questions, then I will gladly answer them. Remember that in Facebook, sometimes it takes a little bit for me to get your questions because there's a certain delay, but normally I try to answer things as quickly as possible and as soon as I read your comments or questions. Okay. So again, number one, topic sentence, your first sentence. Always support your topic sentence with the following sentences. And finally, your last sentence should always be your conclusion if it's the last paragraph, or the transition paragraph if you have more paragraphs afterwards. Okay, how you're going to connect with the rest. Number four, know when to start a new paragraph. This is what I mentioned before, right? If your paragraph is too long, then you need to separate it in two. But how do I separate it in two after this point? I mean, when? I mean, you need to know. You need to know when to separate it, okay? A paragraph break is necessary when starting a new topic, introducing a new speaker, contrasting other pops or ideas, okay, so it's the same thing, or providing white space to give readers pause from a longer paragraph, okay? For example, in a novel, you may start a new paragraph when bringing in a new character, or specify when a different character is speaking, which can help the reader separate action text from dialogue more readily. Okay, so this is an example. If you're writing, always try, if you think you're talking about another topic, separate it, okay? Don't combine topics. If you think that you're going to, for example, give another example, maybe you can separate. Okay, so, but again, don't separate just for separating. You need to find a moment when to separate. Paragraph breaks can control the pacing of your writing and generate particular feelings or meeting your reader. While there is not a set amount of sentences required per paragraph, in some instances, a single paragraph may consist of a single sentence, but it is acceptable as long as it supports your central idea. Okay, so again, I'm not saying, for example, this paragraph, you can say, oh, this paragraph has 2, 4, 6, 8. It's too long. Maybe, but as you can see, it talks about there's only one topic. The topic is to tell you when to start a new paragraph. So there's no need on separating it, okay? Avoid long paragraphs, yes, but don't separate paragraphs just because you don't want to have long paragraphs. No, don't get me wrong, okay? You might need to have a long paragraph. Sometimes it happens. If you can avoid it, okay? If you can split it in two, perfect. If you want to give readers a pause, great. But don't just separate because of separating, okay? You need to know when you're going to start a new paragraph. And it's just not, like I said, sometimes students just think, okay, I'm going to separate a paragraph because there's a point here, okay? So this is going to be the last point and everything else is going to be a new paragraph. No, this should not be the reason why you start a new paragraph. You should always make sure that there is a motive for separating. Okay, well, the fifth one, for some reason it escaped, but the fifth one is to stay coherent, okay? To stay coherent. If you, if your thesis statement says that you're going to talk about advantages and disadvantages, then in your following paragraphs, I should read advantages and disadvantages. If in your thesis statement you say you're only going to talk about advantages, then only talk about advantages. Okay, don't try to um, cover many things just because you want to cover many things, unless your writing is going to be about many things. Okay, so you should always stay online. That's why it's always important to have a plan. Okay, so coherency is given when you have a plan, when you prepare. What am I going to talk about? How many things am I going to mention? Am I only going to talk about positive things or negative things? Okay, am I going to be formal or informal? Am I going to do I want to have 3 or 4 paragraphs? Okay, so all these things add to your coherency. Like I mentioned before, stick with the tenses. Okay, if you're going to only you're going to talk about experiences, then you're going to use present perfect. If you're going to talk about maybe chronological things, maybe you're going to use simple past and past perfect. Okay, and things like this. Okay, so the fifth tip will be to stay coherent. Okay, sometimes, for example, they always say that you should write your title last. Why? Because if you write the title, then it will control all of your writing. But if you write freely and then based on what you write, you decide on your title, then it's easier. Because if you write, for example, advantages of doing something, and then while you're writing, you see that there are more disadvantages than advantages, you won't be able to write it because your title says only advantages. Okay, so always write your title last. Okay, that makes it coherent. The same goes with your thesis statement. Maybe you can have an idea of your thesis statement, but if, for example, again, let's stay in the topic of advantages and disadvantages. If your thesis statement say that you're going to talk about the advantages of something, but then when you're writing you see that there are more disadvantages than advantages, you have 2 options. You either eliminate the disadvantages to stay in the thesis statement, or you change your thesis statement. Okay, so your thesis statement is manageable. It's flexible, depending on you. Depending on what you want to say. Okay, so this will be my comments on how to write a paragraph. Hopefully, it has been beneficial, and maybe you have some information given is helpful for you when you write your paragraphs. Then the next topic on Saturday will be resume and job interviews. Okay, so if there are no more questions, remember, like I said, I follow you in Facebook. I see that there are no comments, the same as here in Zoom. If there are no more comments, I hope we have a great Wednesday and an even better Thursday. And I will see you on Saturday. We are a few weeks from Christmas. Again, if you need to go out, the closer that we get, to the holidays, the more people that are going to be in the street. Sometimes it seems like there were no pandemic going on, but please take care. Please don't go out if it's not necessary. Wash your hands, clean your shoes, wear your masks. Do the minimum at least. Have a great Wednesday, and I will see you on Saturday. God bless.